Market segmentation. What are the methods to segment the market? Okay, so one of the key methods to segment the market is age. This is different ages from young to old to middle age. Another way is to segment the market is by gender, male, female, and then other genders that are also now classified. Income. How much does somebody earn? How much does the customer earn? Do they have a low income? Do they have a middle income? Or do they have a high income? Location. Where are they based in the world? Perhaps they're based in a country. Are they based in the south? Are they based in the north? Are they in the southeast, southwest, northeast, northwest? And lifestyle. So what is it that they do in their life and what are they interested in, their hobbies and their values? We're going to dive into these into a little bit more detail now. Okay, so segmenting by age. As you can see in the bottom right hand corner there is a circle, and this is effectively the circle, imagine as being the market, the total market that want a particular product. Okay, and each of these little pieces are different ages within this market. Okay, and you can see there's children, teenagers, adults and senior citizens. For simplistic sake, they've all got the same percentage of the market. They've all got 25%, and ultimately 425% make 100%, and that therefore equals the whole market. Okay, so the same amount of people want the same product. Consumers buy different products and services at different ages. Examples include technology is primarily targeted at teenagers and young adults. However, that does not mean senior citizens cannot buy it. It just means that Apple is not wasting all their advertising money trying to target senior citizens by advertising in a newspaper, because the primary target market who really want this technology are teenagers and young adults. So therefore, they'll use the software or the technology that targets teenagers. They might use social media, in particular YouTube perhaps, to attract teenagers. Expensive holidays for older people, senior citizens in this particular model. Again, there's a company down in the UK called Saga. It's down in Folkestone, Kent, and they target holidays primarily at just individuals over the age of 50 or 55, and they can be quite expensive. And the idea is that these people they're on their pension, and they just kind of spend their pension, and there's a big market for it, and they go on holiday as a group or on their own. And this is different to a family holiday or a couple's holiday or just a solo holiday. Again, toys aimed at children. Yes, you'll get toys aimed at children rather than senior citizens, because children are going to be the ones that want to play with it, and then you can argue that it be targeted at their parents so they can buy it. Okay, so now segmenting by gender. This is again by male, female, or the other genders that are now classified in the UK. I'll just put for simplistic sake females and males, and there's a little example in the bottom right hand corner of splitting the total market. Consumers buy different products and services depending on their gender. So let's think about this. We've got clothing produced from men and women. Again, a male is less likely to buy a woman's clothing. Some cars may be aimed more at men. This could be very sexist, but you might assume that a very sports car is associated more towards a male, whereas a people carrier might be associated more towards mothers. Health-related products aimed at women, okay, yeah, but there's also a health-related product aimed at men, again for different health-related needs. Beauty products aimed at women, but there's also beauty products aimed at men, and there's books aimed at men and books aimed at women. And I think if you think about products in general, what could be, look at it and think, okay, blue bike, is that likely to be targeted at a male or female? Well, given the color blue, it's probably targeted towards male. Yeah, you can just look at any product and kind of look at it and think, okay, who's that targeting? Look at the colors, look at the shape, look at the size, look at the features, and that sort of thing. Okay, doesn't mean that the other person can't buy it or the other gender can't buy it, and it doesn't mean that it's only for that gender. It just means that for that particular product, they're aiming because they think either male or female are going to really buy that product more than the other gender. Income. Again, you can split the market into, I've done it 4 ways, but you can split it into more ways depending on how specific you want to be and how you really want to narrow down this market. But consumers with high levels of income want to spend money on expensive items, and they often want to do this is because they want to show their wealth. Whereas consumers with low levels of income are likely to buy cheaper items, and that's simply because they don't have enough wealth to spend. Okay, so if you've got a really high paying job, you're likely to buy quite an expensive car. And you want that expensive car because you want luxuries in life. And you want those luxuries because you not only want to show how much you earn, but you can afford those luxuries as well. And here are just some examples of luxury items such as watches, yachts, supercars, sports cars, and designer clothes. However, that's not to say that somebody who earns less than £15,000 is not going to buy designer clothes. They may well buy designer clothes. However, Ralph Lauren, for example, is not going to be wasting their advertising spending or their promotional budget trying to target somebody who earns less than £15,000. They're probably aiming their budget and their target market towards somebody that's 31 to 18, more than 80. Okay, if you think of these examples, you could think of the complete opposite, because you've got watches. Could be the complete opposite end of watches, could be the really cheap £5, £7 watches. Again, that could be consumers for low levels of income. Yachts, you could think of really just standard wooden boats that you have to row. And again, that could be for the cheaper end of the market. Sports cars, you could replace with just simple little cars. Again, it's still a car, but it's not a sports car, so you can replace it with just a car for the cheaper end of the market. And again, designer clothes just become clothes without designs and segmenting the market by location. So far we've done income, we've also looked at age, and we've also looked at gender, location, and there's one more after. So location in the UK, I've just split it north, east, northwest, southwest, southeast. It can be split other ways, it's up to the business to choose. So consumers who live in the south may want expensive items to show their wealth than those who live in the north. There's a kind of a interesting fact here that those who live in the south generally tend to be wealthier than those who live in the north of the UK. Long reasons for that, I won't go into that now. But those who live in the south might want to show their wealth. So expensive cars, expensive watches, expensive clothing, very materialistic if you like. Consumers who live in the city may want to have a smaller car for parking, for instance, whereas consumers in the countryside might want a 4x4 to be able to tackle the harsh road conditions. However, that's not to say that those who live in the city aren't going to buy a 4x4. They may well buy a 4x4 because they need a bigger car, but you might find that the businesses might have a different markets and therefore target differently to each of these customers. So for their countryside customers, they might decide to have this saying this car can get you through the harsh conditions of your country lanes. And then for the city worker, for the city family, if you like, say this 4x4 can carry all your children and all your luggage conveniently at one time. So there's different benefits with the big 4x4 for different parts of the country or different cities and different kind of areas of residence. Consumers in the city may want smarter style clothing, but consumers in the countryside may want wellies and other stuff. Yes, true. You know, you think wellies makes more relevance to be in the countryside rather than the city. Again, but in the city, they might want wellies, particularly if it's very wet and they're not going to work, perhaps. Smarter clothing in the city, whereas perhaps more casual in the countryside. Not to say that those in the countryside aren't going to buy smart style clothing. It's just they're more likely probably to buy casual clothing that relates more to the environment. Dark greens, brown colours. And lastly, segmenting by lifestyle. So I've just split it here by yachts, powerboats, speedboats, and houseboats. Again, it's not really kind of split it by lifestyle as such. It's more here to do with their interest and their hobbies. Okay, and that comes as a result of previous methods of segmentation that we've looked at, such as income. So consumers have different hobbies and interests. And lifestyle is connected to income and location. You may have a hobby, sailing yachts, but because you're wealthy enough to be able to afford it. You might not have that hobby if you're wealthy, but you're more likely to because it's in your social group. Okay, and you might find that if you weren't wealthy, you might have an interest in something else. Perhaps a speedboat was considerably a lot cheaper than a yacht, and you might like to take your speedboat out. You could even have jet ski in there as well, that I've not quite included in this model. And lifestyles might just be about copying celebrities. So it's not just about hobbies, interests, values, beliefs. It could just be about copying celebrities. So if you like Stormzy, you might buy the same clothes as him. You might get the same hairstyle. Yeah, you've been influenced by him, and that's why some businesses use celebrities to really influence their target market to buy their products and services. Yeah, so if Stormzy is wearing a particular pair of shoes from Nike, then you're likely, if you admire Stormzy, to buy those same Nike shoes, thus boost Nike's sales of those particular shoes, and it benefits them. Okay, so that was market segmentation. Here's a little example in terms of watches. Age. Watches can be small and sleek for young adults, but large for older adults to help them see. Different watches aimed at women and men. You might think of colours, shapes and sizes, and weight. Income. Watches as little as £5 and can be more than £30,000. Think about a Rolex, for example, or the cheap watch from Primark. Location. You might have diving watches targeted in areas renowned for diving. You might have running watches targeted in areas where a lot of consumers go running. Lifestyle. So watches for running, and watches for climbing, watches for diving, and watches for nurses, so for occupations, for different jobs. Lots of ways to segment the market. You know, Apple could decide that they're going to create their watch, and their Apple Watch, because of the technology, enables them to target different sports and different lifestyle kind of hobbies and interests, and therefore get a larger part of the market interested in their product. So if you've got an Apple Watch, for example, you can select different apps on it for different activities, such as running or climbing, and it measures your heart rate and that sort of thing. Check your knowledge. List 5 ways a product or service can be segmented in the market, and how might a business segment products based on income? Answer these questions. If you can't answer them comfortably, go back in the video, watch it again, then try and answer them later on.